In the year 2472, humanity has become a fledgling interstellar species. Centuries of exploration, technological leaps, and the terraforming of distant planets have pushed the boundaries of human civilization far beyond the solar system. Dozens of colonies now dot the edges of known space, governed loosely by the United Terran Accord, a coalition of Earth and its outer colonies. But in the vast dark beyond human expansion, something watches. The Zarketh Armada, a powerful and ancient alien civilization, has ruled a large section of the galaxy for millennia. Cold, calculating, and efficient, the Zarketh believe in maintaining cosmic purity, removing any species that might eventually threaten their supremacy. They do not negotiate. They observe. And when they deem a race dangerous, they strike, without warning or mercy. For decades they had monitored humanity from afar. Their deep space probes cataloged Earth's growth, faster than they expected. From fire to fusion, from moon landings to warp drives, the Zarketh were stunned by the speed at which humans advanced. But still, they considered humans unrefined, chaotic, and technologically inferior. Until now, a hidden Terran research outpost, Outpost Helios 9, was established near the Gamma Serpentis expanse, a region considered unclaimed and uninhabited. It was meant to serve as a forward listening post and scientific hub to study exotic energy anomalies nearby. Unbeknownst to the humans, this region was just inside the surveillance perimeter of the Zarketh's deep space territory. When Helios 9 activated a long-range energy pulse experiment meant to test warp bubble inversion, it sent out a burst strong enough to catch the attention of the Zarketh's border sentinels. To them, it was a sign. The humans were advancing too quickly. The command was given: Purge Protocol 73 Theta, a standard cleansing operation. Within days, a Zarketh scout fleet, consisting of sleek obsidian ships equipped with high-yield plasma lances and advanced cloaking fields, approached Helios 9 undetected. From orbit, they began scanning the installation, mapping its defenses and jamming its communications. Inside the outpost, the crew of Helios 9 sensed something was wrong. Power fluctuations increased. Satellite drones disappeared. Then, their long-range sensors caught strange anomalies, intermittent shadows and shifting gravimetric readings in the outer system. Not natural, not human. Realizing the outpost might be under threat, the commander of Helios 9, Dr. Kara Voss, ordered an emergency priority transmission to Earth, a distress signal compressed into a tight beam quantum burst. It was a gamble. The signal might never make it through the jamming, but it was their only chance. Then the sky darkened. Without warning, the Zarketh fleet decloaked, surrounding the outpost with eerie synchronization. No messages, no demands. Just silence. Then came the energy surge, an arming sequence. But before the first shot could be fired, something unexpected happened. A single word echoed through the Zarketh fleet's long-range sensors. Inbound. It wasn't human. It was machine-translated using a frequency unknown to them. From the edge of the system, a ripple in space unfolded, a jump point. A ship emerged, unlike anything the Zarketh had encountered. Matte black, angular, and radiating, controlled energy bursts, it bore no official designation, just a name on its hull, HSS Revenant. The hunters had been seen. And for the first time in 1,000 years, the Zarketh hesitated. The Zarketh Armada was accustomed to control. Their methodical precision and overwhelming technological dominance had made them virtually unchallenged across their sector of the galaxy for thousands of years. But the arrival of the HSS Revenant disrupted that rhythm. It wasn't just the ship's unexpected presence, it was how it arrived, undetected, undeterred, and completely unbothered by the fleet waiting for it. The Revenant was unlike any known human vessel. No standard broadcast ID, no escort ships, and no visible signs of propulsion. The Zarketh scanners failed to analyze it completely. Its surface seemed to bend sensors, reflect nothing. They assumed it was a bluff, a last-ditch attempt by the humans to stall for time. But then the Revenant spoke. A deep, layered voice transmitted across all channels. This is human strategic ship Revenant. You have engaged Terran territory without provocation. You will power down all weapons, stand down, and prepare for quarantine inspection. You have 60 seconds. To the Jarketh, this was absurd. A single human ship issuing demands to an armada of over 30 warships? They responded with silence, choosing to fire a warning shot across the Revenant's bow, a brilliant spear of plasma that should have melted any known human hull on contact. It never landed. The Revenant seemed to vanish for a split second, its entire mass displacing itself by micro-jumping in real time, and reappeared behind the lead Jarketh battlecruiser. Its retaliation was instantaneous. A pinpoint blast of coherent graviton energy pierced the alien cruiser's shields and sliced the vessel in half as though it were paper. No debris, just disintegration. Panic rippled through the alien fleet. Jarketh command vessels attempted evasive maneuvers, initiating combat protocols they hadn't used in centuries. But the Revenant wasn't chasing them. It moved like a ghost, reappearing at impossible angles, disabling vessels with surgical precision rather than outright destruction. For every shot the aliens fired, they received 2 in return. Calculated, clean, efficient. Meanwhile, on Helios 9, Dr. Kara Voss and her team watched in stunned silence as the Revenant danced among the stars, protecting them from total annihilation. They had no idea Earth had even built such a ship. In truth, very few on Earth did. The Revenant was the result of a secret black-budget program known as Project Revenant, initiated decades earlier after first contact with another minor hostile alien race. Earth's leadership realized that the EO galaxy was far more dangerous than they'd believed, and a deterrent was needed. Something powerful, terrifying, and autonomous. The Revenant wasn't just a ship, it was a sentient war platform, equipped with next-gen AI and experimental weaponry designed to match unknown threats. Back in orbit, the Jarketh were starting to realize the truth. This wasn't a desperate human defense. This was a trap, a test, and they had walked directly into it. But what truly unnerved them wasn't the Revenant's firepower, it was its behavior. It didn't broadcast human emotion. It didn't show triumph. It didn't even finish off crippled ships unless provoked. It was operating on a logic they couldn't predict. As they scrambled to regroup, several Jarketh captains hesitated. They'd never known fear before, not real, instinctual fear. But now, facing this relentless ghost of a machine, they finally understood what it meant to be hunted, and the Revenant was only getting started. As the HSS Revenant hovered in the cold silence of space, the balance of power in the system shifted. Where once the Jarketh Armada had surrounded the helpless Helios 9 outpost with confidence and clinical detachment, now their formation was fractured, their discipline shaken. And it all centered around the sudden, impossible arrival of one ship, silent, black, and deadly. But to truly understand why the Revenant's arrival was so terrifying, one had to grasp what the ship wasn't. It didn't broadcast the usual Terran military chatter. It didn't request permission to engage. It didn't emit standard propulsion or energy signatures. In fact, it didn't register as a traditional ship at all. To Jarketh sensors, the Revenant was closer to a living anomaly, a distortion of known physics that hovered just outside their full comprehension. Inside the alien command vessel, Admiral Kashal Dar, an ancient tactician with 3 centuries of undefeated campaigns, examined the battlefield in disbelief. His fleet had lost 5 ships in the opening minutes of the encounter, not due to overwhelming firepower, but because they simply couldn't track their opponent. Their sensors, previously flawless, now reported conflicting data. Their targeting systems failed to lock on. Communications between vessels were increasingly disrupted by localized distortion fields. And still, the Revenant said nothing more. It drifted slowly, methodically, around the battlefield, altering its course unpredictably, as though it weren't piloted at all. In truth, it wasn't. The Revenant was run by a semi-sentient AI system known only as Spectre, built to analyze, adapt, and strike with inhuman precision. Unlike a human crew, Spectre didn't hesitate. It didn't fear, and it certainly didn't play by conventional rules of engagement. From within Helios 9, Dr. Karavos watched the tactical feed transmitted by the outpost's external sensors. The display showed a nightmare rendered in cold geometry. Alien. Ships drifting, half destroyed, while the Revenant calmly repositioned itself for maximum tactical control. She turned to her second-in-command, whispering, "What is that thing?" Back on Earth, only a handful of top-level Terran defense executives truly understood the scope of what they had unleashed. Revenant had not seen live combat until now. It was Earth's trump card, its secret deterrent designed for exactly this kind of first contact, a technologically superior enemy that couldn't be reasoned with. And it was exceeding expectations. Still, the Revenant was not simply a brute force weapon. Its arrival triggered a wave of psychological warfare. Without firing, it could erode the morale of entire fleets. Its presence caused Jarketh ship AIs to malfunction, its hull covered in reactive metamaterials that manipulated light and EM fields in real time. Alien pilots began seeing false ghost images of the ship, multiple Revenants phasing in and out of view like predators toying with prey. Admiral Kishaldar, for the first time in his long career, hesitated. He issued a partial withdrawal command to regroup, only to find 3 of his own cruisers no longer responding. One had self-destructed in panic, another drifted powerless, life signs vanishing. The third simply disappeared, sensors showing nothing but static. They had come expecting to crush a primitive species. Instead, they had awakened a nightmare, and somewhere deep inside the Revenant, Spectre calculated probabilities. New targets acquired. Minimal force required. Proceeding with containment. The hunt had only just begun. The silence of space shattered with sudden, lethal precision. The HSS Revenant unleashed its first strike, a surgical, devastating assault unlike anything the Jarketh Armada had ever faced. Unlike traditional battles that rely on overwhelming firepower or prolonged engagements, the Revenant's approach was swift, calculated, and mercilessly efficient. The alien fleet had been thrown off balance by the Revenant's arrival. Their ships, disoriented by its ghost-like movements and advanced electronic warfare, struggled to maintain formation. Their once perfect coordination began to falter, replaced by frantic attempts to locate and target the elusive human warship. Then, without warning, the Revenant struck. The ship's primary weapon, the Graviton Lance, fired a concentrated beam of gravity-manipulating energy. Unlike plasma or lasers, this weapon bent the very fabric of space-time around its target. One blast hit the lead cruiser, and in an instant, the vessel's hull imploded inward, crushed by forces it couldn't counteract. The shockwave rippled through the surrounding ships, shaking their formation. But it wasn't just brute force that made the strike so effective. The Revenant deployed swarms of cloaked microdrones, tiny machines capable of slipping through shields and boarding enemy ships undetected. Once inside, they infiltrated vital systems, hacking AI cores, disabling engines, and severing weapon links. These drones were autonomous, coordinated by Spectre's AI to prioritize targets based on strategic value and vulnerability. Within minutes, multiple Jarketh cruisers began losing power and drifting helplessly. Some erupted in internal explosions as their reactors were sabotaged from within. Others silently floated, unable to respond or flee. Admiral Kishaldar watched, in growing horror as his fleet crumbled piece by piece. His once confident commands turned desperate and fragmented. The Jarketh ships tried to mount a counterattack, firing volleys of plasma bolts and missiles, but the Revenant's reactive shields absorbed the impact with little effort. The warships' movements were a blur, appearing at one moment behind a cruiser, disabling its weapons, then instantly repositioning to intercept reinforcements. Spectre's AI calculated every move with perfect foresight, predicting enemy maneuvers and nullifying them before they could be executed. Despite their advanced technology, the Jarketh were not prepared for a foe that combined raw power with tactical cunning and unyielding patience. The Revenant didn't seek glory or destruction for its own sake. It pursued containment, a precise neutralization of threats with minimal collateral damage to the surrounding environment. For the crew of Helios 9, the battle was surreal. Through sensor feeds, they watched the Revenant dismantle an Armada single-handedly, a phantom in the void. Many struggled to comprehend the scale of power humanity had hidden until now. Among the Jarketh, morale plummeted. The realization spread. This was no ordinary warship, and humanity was no ordinary race. Their arrogance shattered, replaced by fear and confusion. Some began to question their leader's decision to engage the humans at all. In the midst of the chaos, the Revenant's AI transmitted a chilling message directly to the alien fleet's main command. Cease hostilities. Submit to quarantine. Resistance will be terminated. The words echoed coldly across the void, a promise and a warning. The first strike was more than a military assault. It was a declaration of human resolve and capability, a brutal statement that the age of human vulnerability in space was over. Admiral Kashaldar, battered and facing near certain defeat, ordered a retreat. His fleet limping away under the ghostly shadow of a single warship that had rewritten the rules of engagement forever. But the Revenant was not finished. This was only the beginning. The Jarketh Armada had faced many enemies over their long history, rebellions, rival empires, and countless minor species. But nothing prepared them for the chilling psychological impact of confronting the HSS Revenant. The battle was no longer just about firepower and tactics. It became a war waged in the minds of the alien commanders and their crews. After the devastating first strike, the Revenant didn't press a full-scale assault. Instead, it shifted its strategy to one of intimidation and disruption. The warship's AI Spectre understood that total annihilation was not always necessary to win a fight. Sometimes the mere threat of overwhelming power was enough to break an enemy's will. The Revenant began to move with ghost-like stealth, appearing and disappearing unpredictably across the battlefield. Cloaked in advanced metamaterial armor, it manipulated electromagnetic waves to create multiple phantom images of itself, confusing Zarketh sensors. Some captains reported seeing entire squadrons of Revenants, a dozen ghost ships darting between their vessels, while others saw none at all. This created deep paranoia within the fleet. Ship commanders second-guessed their readings, unsure if an attack was imminent or if their instruments were being deceived. The once disciplined formation dissolved into scattered defensive clusters. Communication channels flooded with frantic, contradictory reports. The psychological strain was palpable. Inside the alien ships, AI cores began to malfunction. The Revenant deployed electronic warfare protocols that injected false data and scrambled sensor arrays, making every ship's environment unpredictable. Some vessels experienced phantom threats, ghost contacts that turned out to be illusions, causing crew members to panic and make fatal errors. One Jarketh captain, Commander Veltrax, recorded a log entry revealing the deep fear creeping into their ranks. The Revenant is not merely a ship, it is a specter. We see it everywhere and nowhere. It toys with us like a predator plays with a mouse. Our technology falters, our minds fray. This is war unlike any we have known. Even the highest-ranking officers struggled to maintain composure. The Admiral Kashaldar was haunted by visions of the Revenant appearing beside his flagship one moment, then inside his tactical command center the next, a manifestation of the human AI's ability to infiltrate and destabilize. As dread spread, morale plummeted. Crews whispered of a curse, of a weapon born of nightmare rather than flesh and blood. Mutiny and surrender rumors began to surface. The alien fleet, once proud and unyielding, now grappled with the terror of an invisible, unstoppable enemy. Meanwhile, on Helios 9, Dr. Karavos observed this psychological unraveling with a mixture of awe and horror. The Revenant was proving that war was not only fought with weapons, but with fear and uncertainty. She realized the cost of this encounter extended, far beyond ships and soldiers. It was a battle for dominance of the mind. Despite their fear, the Jarketh were not defeated. They began to adapt, attempting countermeasures to neutralize the Revenant's illusions and electronic warfare. But each success was met with new tactics, new layers of deception. Spectre's AI evolved in real time, learning from every engagement and exploiting every weakness. The psychological warfare reached a crescendo when several Jarketh vessels, crippled and isolated, sent surrender signals. For the first time, an alien race had been broken, not just physically, but mentally. The message was clear. Humanity's first strike was not just a battle won by firepower, it was a victory of fear and control. The Revenant had shown the galaxy that humans were no longer the hunted, they were the hunters. The battle for the Gamma Serpentis expanse ended not with a cataclysmic explosion, but with a retreat, a shattered alien fleet limping away into the depths of space, haunted by the memory of the HSS Revenant. What remained was more than just the physical destruction of warships. It was a profound shift in galactic dynamics, a new reality for humanity and the wider universe. The Jarketh, Armada, once seen as an unstoppable force, returned to their home systems fractured and demoralized. Their commanders convened in emergency councils, analyzing what had transpired and debating how to respond to this unprecedented threat. For many, the encounter with the Revenant was an existential awakening. The humans were no longer a primitive species to be dismissed, but a formidable power, one capable of shattering fleets with precision and instilling fear that lingered long after weapons were silenced. The psychological scars cut deep. Several high-ranking officers who had witnessed the Revenant's assault recorded confidential logs describing feelings of awe, disbelief, and terror. The phrase "ghost ship" became common among Jarketh ranks, a haunting metaphor for the Revenant's elusive and unstoppable presence. More than that, whispers of the human war machine spread through the corridors of power, warning that future encounters might be even more devastating. Back on Earth, the news of the engagement was classified as top secret. The official statement acknowledged a minor skirmish on the frontier, but made no mention of the Revenant or the scale of the victory. Only a select few knew the full truth: the existence of Project Revenant, the ship's capabilities, and the chilling implications for future interstellar relations. Dr. Kara Voss and the crew of Helios 9 were debriefed extensively. Their eyewitness accounts and sensor logs became invaluable assets for the United Terran Accord's strategic planning. The outpost had survived, but its mission had changed. It was now a sentinel, a frontline warning system for the Revenant and other Terran defense assets. The Revenant itself returned to Earth's orbit after the mission, its AI system Spectre undergoing extensive data uploads and refinements. Engineers and strategists studied the combat logs with a mix of pride and concern. The battle had revealed both the ship's strengths and potential vulnerabilities. It was clear humanity would need more such vessels, and soon if they hoped to protect their expanding domain. Across the galaxy, rumors of the Revenant's victory spread quietly but quickly. Other alien civilizations, some allied with the Jarketh and others observing from afar, began reconsidering their stance toward humanity. Diplomatic envoys were dispatched with cautious curiosity, while intelligence agencies scrambled to gather more information on Earth's hidden warship. The encounter also sparked a wave of technological innovation on Earth. Scientists and engineers poured resources into developing new weaponry, defense systems, and AI technologies inspired by the Revenant's success. The spacefaring human race was entering a new era, one where they were not only explorers but guardians and warriors. But with power came caution. The leadership of the United Terran Accord understood that the Revenant's brutal efficiency had consequences. They faced the delicate task of balancing defense with diplomacy, knowing that any show of force risked igniting larger conflicts. For the Jarketh, the encounter was a painful lesson in humility and a call to adapt. They began restructuring their fleets, investing in countermeasures specifically designed to combat human technology and the Revenant's unique tactics. The war for dominance in this sector of space was far from over. In the quiet aftermath, humanity's legend had begun. The Revenant became a symbol, a ghost ship that frozen an alien armada in their tracks, rewriting the rules of cosmic power. And somewhere in the dark reaches of space, Other civilizations took notice. The age of human vulnerability was over.